In other disturbing news, new details in the murder of a 9-year-old girl in Missouri. The suspect's identity has now been revealed, and it's a 15-year-old girl who police say murdered just for the thrill of it. Authorities say 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante killed her 9-year-old neighbor for no other reason than she wanted to know what it felt like. Among the details released in court, police say the suspect spent a Friday off from school digging 2 holes in the ground to be used as graves. NBC's John Yang is live in Chicago with more. John, I just don't know how darker and sadder and more horrific this story can get.
I know, Nancy. It really is. I mean, the unprovoked death, brutal death, stabbing. This young girl was strangled, her throat was cut, and she was stabbed. That's disturbing enough. The fact that the person accused of doing this is a neighbor, a 15-year-old girl, is even more disturbing. And there really is emerging a portrait of a very troubled young girl. She tried to commit suicide more than 2 years ago. She's been treated for depression. She has a history of mood swings. This all came out in testimony yesterday when the court decided that she would be tried as an adult for this murder. One reason that is going forward, she's being tried as an adult, is because the juvenile justice system officials in Missouri acknowledge they simply don't have the facilities to deal with a young girl who's committed a crime or alleged to have committed a crime like this. They can deal with young boys, but they have no facilities for dealing with young girls like this. There are more details coming out. She was into goth. She was family were concerned about how much time she was spending on the internet, and she had told friends that she wanted to kill someone just to see what it was like.
John Yang in Chicago. John, thank you. Well, I'm joined now live from Washington, D.C. by Pat Brown, criminal profiler and author of Killing for Sport, Inside the Mind of Serial Killers. Pat, thanks for joining me today. I don't know how you get in someone's mind like this. I mean, her age, the fact that it's a girl, it certainly doesn't fit any kind of stereotype that we see on crime dramas.
Well, Nancy, I think we're going to see more of this in the future. It's not as much of a surprise to me because this is an area I study a lot. I study a lot of teenage psychopathy, and this is what we're seeing is teenage psychopathy. Now, I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not allowed to put that term out there as a,
So you're saying this girl is mentally ill, disturbed, a history of cutting herself, psychologically numbed to the point that she needed a bigger thrill.
Oh, absolutely. When she was growing up, I'm sure that she became very detached from people, lost her empathy for others, and that's a sign of psychopathy. But what's happening in today's world is a girl like this in the past might have simply grown up to have her own issues, and maybe she would have become a little con artist, something like that. But now what we're seeing with the advent of the internet and a lot of goth, a lot of gore films, a lot of slasher films, kids are going on there at a very young age. They're spending oodles of time on there just watching murder after murder after murder, and the murders are from the killer's point of view and how much fun it is. So they get into that.
I mean, look, we all know what the shows are that everybody thinks are popular, but is there such a desensitization and this ability to access anything now that takes someone who's already disturbed and just pushes them into a darker and darker corner?
Absolutely, and that is the problem. And parents are really at fault here because they are allowing the children to access this. I mean, it is our responsibility to make sure our children have positive things in their life. Go to the Girl Scouts and bake cookies and look forward to life. Wonderful things. They should have hobbies, good stuff. But instead, they're leaving them alone in this dark world. And if you're pretty healthy, okay, maybe you're not going to go out and kill people. But if you're already gone down that psychopathic road and you've already started to hate society and hate everything about life, now you add in more anti-death culture where life is worthless, people are worthless, and people should die. People should just be mutilated and tortured. Hey, isn't this a fun thing? You watch that every day. Hey, that stuff goes into your brain. It becomes something you want to do because that's the only excitement you see left in life. And that's what this girl did.
You brought up the parenting issue. I don't know much about, this girl's parents. No daddy in the picture from what I understand, a grandmother who may have raised her. Is there a pattern of parenting issues, drop balls, broken families that fits into the profile of a girl like this?
Absolutely. I think basically what we see is neglect. It may not be that they're being hurt or abused, but they're being neglected, and the parents are not parenting. They're not watching what their kids are intaking. I mean, it's like food. You're supposed to prepare healthy food for your children, not let them eat junk food. Well, this is junk food for the mind, and if you leave them alone with this stuff, and this is like constant intake, making, because we're talking about the internet, where you can just push button, and you're just going to get one scene after the other scene on YouTube and every place else, and all these sites you can go to.
Pat?
So you're taking in a lot of horrible stuff that's going to affect your brain.
Conjecture, two graves dug, one body. Think it was planned to be a murder-suicide? Is there any way to know?
I don't know about that. I don't know if this girl really wanted to commit suicide. Even though she had that suicide attempt, we see a lot of girls do that for attention and for amusement, so that everybody can rally around them and say, oh, look, the poor thing, look what you've done, you're a victim. So I don't know that she actually planned to actually kill herself, because, you know, when you want to kill yourself, you can do it. So I find a lot of suicide attempts are just, you know, they just want a lot of attention.
Quite horrific, but I appreciate your insight. Pat,
Thanks,
thank you.
Nancy.
Appreciate it. Well, up next.